Hey guys, El Prez here, and today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to release a new piece of tackle instead of a fishing rod, something that we've never done before, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it, the new Alpha ShAAkr head. And let's get into some of the details on why this thing is so different. Number one, we'll talk about the head itself. The head is not made out of lead or tungsten. It's actually made out of an alloy we developed to help reflect sonar. But tungsten and dense materials will reflect sonar really well. But sonar reflection is more about the space and the shape. So we wanted to use a head that was actually lighter than its given size if it was lead. So for instance, this head is a 1/4 ounce head, but actually weighs in a little closer to 3/16. That gives you two benefits. One, it gives you more surface space for the sonar to reflect off of so you can see it at a greater distance. But two, and probably the most important thing, and the reason we wanted the material to be a little lighter, the alloy to be lighter than lead or tungsten, to be less dense, is that when you're using it with, for instance, this ShAAkr shad, you have enough weight to throw the bait where you want it to be. But if you have a dense head, when you're working the bait, a dense head without a lot of water resistance will want to fall forward, will want to fall head down. So when you're shaking it, it's tending to go like this, falling head down instead of rolling sideways. So if you have this bait with a heavy, dense head and it wants to fall forward, you actually have to move it quicker to keep it from falling down. These heads, designed with the alloy in mind, actually move more horizontally, not as quickly. You can hold it in front of a fish at a longer cast for a longer amount of time. The head was super important to us. We created the pill shape, which is just a little bit smaller sides than it is wide. The reason for that was we found that head actually rolled the best when you were actually working the bait. The best bait keeper on the market, especially with expensive stuff like these ShAAkr shads, right, is the screw lock. And that's how we came into the screw lock design. Screw lock, screw them on there, unless they rip the bait from the back of the hook, which they do, especially if you get them in schooling, the most likely you won't have to super glue these and you can reuse these heads over and over again. It's a big one. Oh! Sorry about that. The hook is the most important part of this bait, in my opinion, even after all of the intense study we did on metal, all that kind of stuff. And this particular hook is a Gamakatsu hook, but it's sticky sharp. And you can see it kind of has that rolled end in. Now this hook is amazing for baits that are coming through the water column. If they come up and eat it from the back, the bait rolls over on its side and you get them in the side of the mouth, they're done. The hook is so sharp, and with this back end on it, if they get it right from behind and you pop it through the top of their mouth, they're stuck. They can't come off. The barb is too big. It's awesome. The landing percentage with this hook on this head went up 25% over any other thing we had tested. Here's a couple things that are really important, especially if you use your ShAAkr for this. I started fishing with this setup months before we released the ShAAkr, and I was doing pretty good with landing percentage, but the biggest problem I had was when I switched to the ShAAkr, I started losing them. I didn't know what was going on. When I talked to Brandon, he opened the door to me. When you set the hook with this particular hook on your ShAAkr, you don't want any drag to pull. When you bomb it out there, you throw it out there, you let it sink down, you start working it, you get that bite. I'm the kind of guy that when I set the hook, I want some drag to it. I want to hear the drag because I generally set the hook hard. In this scenario with the ShAAkr, Brandon looked right at me and said, the reason you're losing fish, the reason you'll lose any fish at all, will be that drag. You want no drag when you set the hook. You want to drive that hook through their mouth or through the side of their mouth, because generally when they eat it, you have a little slack in your line, you're shaking it, it's got a bow in the line, and you need to drive this big hook. The minute I quit doing that, the minute I quit letting the drag slip and I just pulled into them good, never lost another one. In the last tournament, the BAM Pro-Am tournament out of Boardman, Oregon, I caught 128 fish, scoreable fish that you could catch. I think in 3 days of fishing, I might have lost maybe 3 or 4 fish, and I don't think they would have counted. I think they were too small. All right, guys, the Alpha Angler ShAAkr head. Get a hold of these. These will up your landing percentage. You'll get more fish in the boat. You'll cash more checks, more trophies, sign more autographs. So check them out on alphaangler.com. Thanks for watching.